So it seems I timed the release of these two just right in time for my timeline to be infested with Ruby shit. Normally I'd be ignoring it and using that as my excuse for avoiding Twitter for a few weeks, but between Kara showing her thoughts on some of this shit, as well as the fact that this is a trendy enough topic to talk about, I figured why not squeak out a short and simple one for y'all. So let's go. So the first thing I felt like addressing was yet another prime example of Rooster Teeth's outstanding community relations. All sparked from a hopeful fan simply saying he hoped the upcoming season would be good since the last two weren't. Apparently this was so hot of a take that Barb just had to immediately jump into belittling them. Which hey, I'm not going to harp on her too much over. I'd be quite the hypocrite if I did. But at least when I jump into belittling the person I disagree with, I do it in a way that makes sense and has some actual humor to it. Whereas Barb and most of the other idiots I've seen just like her jump more than just the gun and go right into lying about the situation to feel vindicated.
Oh, who's an edgy boy? Who's an edgy boy? Yes, you are. Oh, what a hot take. Your statements are so controversial. What an edgy boy.
For a moment, let's set aside the grammar Nazi and me noticing the conscious effort to not capitalize words after a punctuation mark in a tweet from a community relations expert in the biggest set of quotations in history. I, just like most of the people who responded to this dumb fucking reply, would like to know how this was in any way edgy or controversial. It's pretty well accepted by fans from what I've heard that the show's now right at that mediocre mark it achieved in Volume 4, and that's all they really want. Except for 8, which Sug compares to The Last Jedi levels of shit. Not to mention this guy said it in the most polite way I've ever seen someone say it when talking to one of you fucks at Rooster Teeth. It'd be one thing if the guy was like, "Too bad Ruby has sucked donkey balls since 2015. Hope you're ready for the disappointment." Then the whole edgy boy response could be justifiable and even a little bit witty for a 13-year-old. But this wasn't the case. But how dare I be so inconsiderate? When you're reading tweets through the "cum stain your boss left when he secured your position for another 6 months, I guess it's hard to pick up on context, isn't it? That's the only explanation I can see for how she thought he was in any way being rude in this single tweet, and for why the following tirade from her exists. "I work on this. Your thing sucks." Responds, calling them out on being rude. The dude was the furthest thing from rude, but whatever. "OMG, you can't take criticism." You clearly can't if this one guy saying this one thing in the most civil way he can, and the backlash from you making this has set you off to this degree. "You're attacking them, OMG, so immature." Wouldn't agree with the attacking part, rather just being too far up your own ass to actually read what they said. But more perspectives and such, I guess. I don't seek out people who criticize/hate on things I work on. I don't care if you dislike something, you are absolutely entitled to that. But if you come to my profile, respond to my tweet being shitty and disrespectful, I'll say this for the last time, you dumbass. The dude was the furthest thing from disrespectful. A blanket statement of just saying they haven't felt the thing you're attached to is any good like this on your profile should have been met with silence if you think this was so shitty of them to say. The block and ignore buttons were designed with bitches like you in mind. Try using them sometime and make these problems you have disappear. Then you're opening yourself up to my response. I agree, they are opening themselves up to a response just as much as the yes men are, but if you really want to play that card now, if your response is needlessly condescending and hostile to such broad criticism, then you're opening yourself up to show everyone how immature you are. Suck on that while you try deleting the rest of this shitstorm you made. Do I hate on things? Of course. Do I talk about those things publicly online and on podcasts? Sure. Do I go out of my way to directly tweet the creators, actors, crew of these things and tell them I dislike their thing? No, and that's the difference. Lady, you were fishing for comments of what people thought on the fucking reveal. You were bound to get 1 or 2 people disappointed by it, and the show at large. That's just the nature of shit on the internet. I can't believe I have to explain this shit to someone who's built their entire career around blogs and tweets, but here we are. This little Twitter shitfest was so boring, but it's just yet another thing that makes me so glad I've stopped watching and communicating with the assholes keeping this shit show running. This had the same energy and the same general outcome as Miles and his stupid tweet about Tifa from last year. She's since deleted everything except for her whinging about how she's entitled to her little responses, but I imagine those will have a short lifetime if it means covering this up faster. Unfortunately for her, the internet never forgets. The other big thing that I suddenly found lots of coverage on my timeline was this retarded moment from Volume 8 resurfacing. I have no idea why, and I don't care. But you know what? This will be the first bit of RWBY I've seen since the Volume 7 trailer, so I've been away from this long enough, I'd say. Let's see just what the deal is on this part of Yang falling that got everyone talking about it again all of a sudden.
If you want to win, You simply can't do it alone. Ruby!
Yeah, that's basically all I got as far as my own thoughts on it. The rest of this is just me paraphrasing some tweets I've seen about this, so pat yourself on the back if you sent something like this, too. I'm sure the fanboys will claim there's some essential context I'm missing as to why Yang is able to go down in a single hit from Neo, who previously had to land several hits and use Yang's own weight against her just to get the cunt down for like 12 seconds. Or why Ruby, after just turning to see the slash happen, couldn't zip over to stop Neo, catch Yang, and work that into a combo hit against Neo. Especially when previous volumes established Ruby is fast enough to stop bullets from point blank while carrying on a conversation. Or why the third most useless character of all time couldn't use a little air dust to push Yang back from the edge. Or use her magic glyphs with infinite range. No. Only the cat bitch has the ability to almost save the cunt. I'm just so stupid for not knowing how shocked the girls were. And I couldn't comprehend the fact that the scene featuring characters with superpowers was almost entirely in slow-mo, so none of them would even be able to react before their brains could register what the fuck was going on. But most of all, I'm stupid for believing consistency was ever a priority for the creators trying everything they can to save this irrelevant-ass show from its impending doom. Alrighty, now that I've lubed up your puckered holes enough, let's all dive right into my initial reactions to this trailer, because clearly you care to know what I think if you stuck around this much. And away we go. Fuck that. I need to wash the taste of shit out of my mouth. I expected worse. Then I remembered it's almost impossible to be worse than this show. I'm so glad I watched this and not one of the reactions to it, because somehow I just know Murder of Birds would be trying to slaughter my eardrums, screaming over what amounts to about 40% blank screens in one overly drawn-out first-person segment. And again, thank me later for letting Dusk's menu music in the background add a feeling of intrigue and mystery to that final bit. Whoever composes for this show couldn't dream of such a good thing, apparently. I get that this wasn't much of a trailer and more just the only bit they have to show off that'll no doubt excite the idiots, but this still sucked. Shocking, I know. That blurb of music in the beginning was thankfully missing Casey's ear-molesting, as she calls a singing voice, so points for that, I guess. But you lost him almost immediately with action so pitifully weak that I've seen lesbian catfight pornos with better choreography than this.
What the fuck, babe? You have your period or something? What? I'm sorry, babe. Check that tone with me, bitch. It's a point here in my head. Raise your hand to me, bitch.
I think I've shown my points enough, you pervs. Kara also had to share thoughts on some of the new characters to this damn spin-off game or whatever it is, and well, I consider it some gold worth sharing.
I'm literally close to choking. This is fucking hilarious. Not only do the four main characters look like hobos, now we have unimportant canon fodder that looks like actual prostitutes. Fuck this show and its character design to hell and back. We proved once again they should have hired Manu instead. The blonde doesn't even look like a person. Heike looks like an inflatable rubber sex doll. And the Play-Doh strings that are supposed to be the hair of the black one, my god.
Let's see here. We got the Slim Jim Rasta looking bitch, the inflatable sex doll, because that's dead on what she looks like, And finally, a dollar store Yoko Littner with slightly more clothing. God damn, the artists at RT really outdid themselves on this one. Give them a round of applause, everybody.
Jesse must be so jealous. Now that they have a real blow-up rubber sex doll, they won't need Cindy anymore.
This is why Kara is the best. She's dead on the money with these burns, and I love it. If it wasn't obvious by now, I'll spell it out to you that this video is phoned in as fuck. Because frankly, I'm sick to death of RWBY content. I've been away from the show for about 2 years now, yet my friends keep up with it for varying reasons, constantly bringing it up knowing I'm just gonna repeat shit I've said in other videos, chats, and comments, or I'll see new users making the same arguments for and against aspects of the show that I've heard for the past 5 years now. I'm just thankful that Rooster Teeth is so fucked that AT&T announced earlier in the year that their days are numbered, and that shit like Barb and her little stint is making them an even bigger liability to keep around for their corporate overlords. And from everything I've seen and heard, this could be shaping up to be the final volume. I ain't watching it, and I ain't listening to anyone bitch about it. I checked out long ago, so this is just me putting the pin in things. I have part 2 of my insult supercut and all the shit talking to other RWBY-loving morons in that, and that's gonna be the end of me talking about this fucking show. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I can't stand this shit anymore. But I had a few thoughts on this and I felt like sharing. And well, you know that moment in life? The moment where after you've had a lot to drink while you're having a good time at the bar or in your game or whatever, and you go to piss it away, but you're in a hurry to get back to whatever it was you were doing. So you zip it up as soon as the stream stops and rush to the sink and then out the door. And there's just a few droplets now staining through your undergarments because you were so hasty. That's what this video here is. The last few drops of RWBY-related piss I'm letting out of my system without a care in the world for the stains I now have. From here on, the insults will be the last time I even reference this god-awful show. I had an idea for a video on franchise fatigue and talking about that, and it would have started with a few final good rips on RWBY. Now I feel so drained whenever I go over that section of the script that I don't even want to do any part of the video anymore. I have a potential mini review for The Vagrant on my list of ideas, and the script is mostly done. But now, because of what the main character reminds me of, and how shit both the game and the thing it reminds me of are, I would rather not. If I ever get the bug to make those 2 projects again, they're getting heavily revised. I've gone on about this shit long enough after all the times it's been referenced or tangentially involved with something on this channel, despite one of my points in my major RWBY video being that I want out. So the train is coming to an end. It's going to take some time to put together Insults Part 2 though. I got a lot of other projects I'm doing for the next few months, and considering how the stupidity of that one was so physically painful that recording my voiceover took several nights and a night of ridiculously expensive rum to recover from, didn't help that while I was doing the editing on that one, I was writing up a 26-page document of one of the most embarrassing chapters of my life, making the need for the rum even greater. I'm not doing that again for a while. If the fact that I'm going to take my time to finish the insults upsets you, you can blow me. I'll burn those bridges once I've crossed them, but in the meantime, I'm gonna get this off my mind and hit the play button on life again. So I guess I'll talk to y'all later.
Fuck you, you're a fucking wanker. We're gonna punch you right in the balls. Fuck you with a fucking anchor. You're all cunts, so fuck you all.